Hey! These are my A-level sketchbooks, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting if I just did a little sketchbook tour, I guess. So pretty much I did my A-levels in 2021 to 2022, which was still during the pandemic kind of rules. Pretty much all that changed was in the last year of A-levels we were meant to have 2 projects, but instead we just had one that lasted the entire year, and this is that entire year's worth of project. The recommended amount you were meant to hand in was about 2 sketchbooks, and I technically handed in 5. But to be honest, you don't need this much work for an A-star grade. The first 2 sketchbooks I'm going to go over very quickly because of how shit they are, and then mainly focus on the last 2. So here is the first sketchbook. Now, I'm going to say, this one is really shit. Like, get your expectations very low. So as a kind of guidance point, we were meant to kind of pick a topic of what we wanted to explore. I chose the city, which is just vague and doesn't really reflect my project whatsoever. And as you can tell in this sketchbook, it's just sloppy. I really hate how this one looks. The writing is very spaced, the images are just kind of shit, and this was my general complaint made to my sketchbook while doing it, was that it felt very bare and barren. Pretty much all this introduction bit is talking about ideas and my first ever roller film I shot. So cool. The images from this are shit, but pretty much the process would be contact sheet, and I would heavily annotate my contact sheets. Pretty much, well, I say that, this contact sheet isn't annotated at all, okay. Contact sheet, final images, talk about what went well, what went wrong, blah blah blah. Evaluation, sometimes. Pretty much this year of photography I was focusing on exploring the analog medium and manipulating the analog medium, so these early stages where I'm trying to explore street photography are just shit. The layout isn't awful actually. You know, we've got images with white borders that are very poorly cropped and cut. Don't know what I was doing here. And one good thing we were taught to do during our A-levels was to have breakpoints after a few shoots to kind of reflect on what we've done in this time period and how we would progress from there. A lot of writing, but definitely very little stuff said here. This was my first artist research, which is a bit late into the project. It's about Vivian Maier. I absolutely love her work so much and I still love it to this day. And I'm actually kind of proud of this page. You know, you've got a lot of text, you've got a little flap, we have a little bit of tracing paper here that shows a bit of a composition breakdown. It's kind of cool, it's a funky bit of artist research. This way of laying out contact sheets, I do not recommend this whatsoever. I did this for ages and it looks shit, it just looks messy. Print your contact sheets in kind of one block when you're doing a photography sketchbook. It makes it look so much better. But as you can tell, you can see more here, some of the heavy annotating I was doing, just red pen on every image. Also, this is kind of meta. I really enjoyed cutting pages up to kind of let the flow breathe in between them, because this page, it would have just been a blank space. Having a little cutout, it lets you still see pages before and after. It makes it feel like there's more work on the sketchbook page in general. And it also saves you a bit of space. Here's just some fun images. Like I'm saying, I'm glossing over this work very quickly because none of it is good. The sketchbook doesn't look good. Like, my contact sheets are just treasury tagged in at this point. What is this? Looks awful. I don't know why these images are so blue. Oh my god, I wish I knew how to color correct images back then. Little flap there. Oh, okay, now that's funky. Got a little flap showing my editing process back when I shot digital images. Actually, this was enough artist research. I did this on my friend Matt. He was doing some alternate process scratching of negatives. It's not a very good artist research, but this bit actually I will go into more depth about later, but the process of my photography was very multiple stepped. I was doing a lot of film souping, so I would heavily document my process and then kind of lay it out like this. This is a very bad example of that though. Oh my god. This is nice, how I've laid out this. This isn't. Guys, never stick your negatives into your sketchbooks. I don't know why. I did this for like another good sketchbook as well. Everyone told me not to stick my negatives in sketchbooks. I didn't listen. I would constantly do it anyway, and they'd be like, don't stick them in because you might want to reuse them in the future. And I'd look at them and be like, why would I want to reuse my negatives in the future? Why wouldn't I want to reuse my negatives in the future? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, god, this sketchbook's so shit. Look how bad these prints are. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on quickly because nothing good or of note is happening here. Like, there's just so much space. It's horrible. This is not A-grade work. I'm pretty sure when I asked him to like have a look at my book, he gave me a C just looking at this book. This page isn't that bad. We've even got a film canister in it because, like I said, I was shooting film at the time and I wanted to fill up space. But overall, first sketchbook, very bad. This one's a little chunkier. Sketchbook number 2. We start off with a recap for whatever reason. Okay. What is this? I cannot even look at this. This is awful. Okay. So here's another breakpoint. I actually print some of the images nicer for once, which I really recommend you guys do. It's a photography sketchbook, you're doing art, you might as well print your images nice or you're just gonna hate how your images look all the time. This is still really messy, I'm still not really happy with how most of this looks, but as you can see, I'm starting to develop what my book looks like more. When I was using a new camera, I would include a picture of the camera I was using. Definitely could be better. If I was to grade this compared to the first one, I'd give this a high B, but it's definitely not an A stuff. This is when I made a film scanner. Oh god, look how funky that looks. Again, do not stick your negatives into sketchbooks though. This is stupid. Do not do this. Actually, I'm gonna get my first year sketchbook out. One thing I really regret not doing in the sketchbook, which I did in my first year sketchbook. Oh my god, look how bad that looks. Oh god, I'm actual mental delusions. Oh my god. This is why I don't shoot digital, because I just don't stop taking images. In my first year sketchbook, I would do this thing for like title cards where I would cut out newspaper clippings and design it like that. I think this looks so cool. I really regret that I don't do this anymore. As much as it is a sketchbook, I also treated it as a scrapbook. It's definitely more fun if you treat it like its own art project, not as something you're handing in. God, it actually hurts to see negatives stuck down like that. Jesus Christ. We've got a few flaps here. Now, I actually really remember this one. I hated how this looked so much. If you're gonna do flaps, never do more than like one because it just becomes so over cluttered and overbearing. Like if it was just this flap, it would look really good. There's like, the writing is quite nicely spaced, it's big, you know, it's legible as well. My handwriting was never very legible, so this is actually nice to see. But you've got a lot of images and a lot of text. I think that's like a good... This is when my sketchbook starts getting good. Yay! It's because I start shooting medium format. So here we have an image of the camera and I've cleverly used the backing paper as something I like to call sketchbook filler, which is you've got a bit of negative space in your sketchbook, put stuff like the film box and the backing paper in it and it takes up space and it also looks cool and tells you, you know, what film stock you've shot instantly. Here again is some flaps and this is good, I like this. This is a good use of 2 flaps because there's one small one then one big one. Then a fucking Pinterest mood board for whatever reason this late into the project. This is another artist research. I think it looks kind of shit to be honest. Big title, lots of text, lots of images showing my process, even have a little studio drawing of how I use the studio. These images are so fucking cool and I didn't scan them properly and look what I've done. I've stuck the negatives in so I can't even scan them properly now. This is some like the first ever medium format film I shot and it's just stuck in the sketchbook, it's awful. Oh, this is a nice page. Look at this. We've got a nice little title, backing paper, contact sheet, final images, flap. And he started using negative sleeves. That's actually perfect. Oh my god, about time. This is a good layout because I've condensed into one double page spread, one shoot, and then another shoot, which is good. You shouldn't be dawdling on your shoot so much, especially if they aren't good. Neither of these shoots were good. And I fit them all into one double page spread and it's got a lot of information. Even more, this is following on from the last shoot. I've got some flaps with the negatives, beautiful. Oh, another little flap there that was hidden. And another flap. Okay, I kind of went flap crazy on that one. Beautiful use of a nice big contact sheet for a 35mm shoot. That Kodak box art is punctuating colour into the sketchbook. It's looking good. This is a good page. I think it was my 3rd sketchbook where I start using a negative folder instead, which is why you're still seeing negatives in the sketchbooks at the moment. Look how nice that looks. Oh, just look at that. Contact sheet, bam, final images, talk about them, and that is the final page. Book number 3. So I started with another breakpoint, kind of talking about some of the images I've taken that I really like so far. This is good. I think you should start doing this earlier on in sketchbooks. Put down everything you want to try and do in one sketchbook. So I had more self-portraits, more on regular cameras, more darkroom processes, pinhole cameras, violent film souping, and more double exposures. That's everything I wanted to cover in a sketchbook. Let's get right into it. This page looks amazing. We've got the camera. I used some of the backing paper, the film box, and it was expired Ilford SFX, so it looks really cool. And even better, we go straight on into another shoot on this page. There's so much information here, while it also looks visually pleasing, which is the perfect combination of like a good grade for your sketchbook. I would easily give this an A. I'm very happy with how this looks. This is where we see my hyperfixation on pylons begin, which is kind of funny. But you know, very nice broad information. Probably one of the first actually good shoots in one of these sketchbooks. This was shot on expired Yugoslavian film from the 90s, and I absolutely love the images. I did not do them justice though, because I printed them so small. If I was to redo this, I think it'd be an image per page, and I'd be talking about it because of how good these images look. And look how cool the backing paper looks! Ah! Also, what I think is really important to talk about here is how I went from this page, which has a flap, where I'm talking about one shoot, then here's a completely other shoot that went wrong, so I just don't really talk about it whatsoever. Then I'm talking about my next shoot, cover it. This is another shoot that went wrong, and I just keep it to this flap. And I've got another shoot here. There's so much information just condensed into just these small pages. I've got my process, my contact sheet, my final images, failed stuff, but still kind of looked cool failed stuff. Final images here, evaluations. There's a lot going on constantly. There's a lot of information, and I think this is very high grade level work. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if your images are shit or not, you should still include them and talk about what went well and what went wrong. Your sketchbook shouldn't just be like a cherry picked, everything's perfect, I'm doing really good. It should show all of your mistakes, which while doing alternate process photography, there was constant mistakes made. So this is where I started pouring bleach on my film, and you know, these were baby steps. The process wasn't very good, but the layout's very nice. I've actually printed these properly as well, which look really good. I really enjoyed doing this shoot with my friend Matt. This was a souped 35mm shoot that I then poured a bunch of bleach on, which turned out to look really cool. As you can just see, there's so much information here. I've got the scanned negatives in full and then close-ups of how cool it looks. Oh, it just keeps going. This is like this is what I was talking about when I said, you know, if I had a bad shoot, I'd condense it to just half a page and talk about something else. But if I had a good shoot, I would continue it on between multiple pages because I had so much to talk about. It's still going here. There's so many pages just from one shoot. This is exciting. These were my first ever pinhole experiments. Some funky little pinholes. Again, looking back, I probably shouldn't have stuck these in because now I can't take them out and rescan them. It's a nice layout. Putting them on a whiteboard as well definitely looks better than these ones at the bottom. Oh, look at that, so much information. We've got one shoot here about a self-portrait shoot, and then another shoot here starting where I was just shooting a roll of colour film. Before, with my first sketchbook, I would try and fill a page with text, which just doesn't work because you don't have that much to say. But here it's just like a good use of concise, straight to the point text. You know, you don't have to ramble for ages. You can be like, this was good, this was bad, some of this is okay. I'm gonna be honest, I did this so informally. Like, I wouldn't be like, this image is good because the composition blah blah blah. I'd be like, I like this because XYZ worked. I would be straight to the point and so informal, and it worked out for me. We've got more pinhole experiments here. I think these are actually chemigrams. Oh yeah, these are all chemigrams. These look really cool. Again, probably should have sleeved them. I would have loved to actually have scanned these and inverted them because as they are pinholes, they are all negatives, so you don't really get to see the positive version of the image, but they still have a style, which I don't hate. Nice big one there, stuck in. I can never take that out now, that's great. Sorry, this stuff looks so cool. It's good to know I love my work so much. Layout here is kind of boxed in. I think maybe this is an example of overdoing the sketchbook filler actually, because it literally borders around the whole page. Like, you should have some text in there still anyway. This is a better use of it. Just down the edges, contact sheet, nice and simple. And also this, using the sketchbook filler on the edge and then putting your images half over them. That's good, I like doing that. This is the last page of the book, which is kind of shit to be honest. Number 4. So I start with another break point, kind of calling it the final stretch, going over some of the stuff I've done recently. This was my first ever darkroom print, look how bad it looks. Oh, and finally I'm sleeving the really good kind of chemigrams I was making. Look how cool that looks. That's good, you should sleeve them. Obviously I was only sleeving the big ones though, not the small ones. Very nice layout, got them in sleeves, very good. This is a very good page. More stuff. I'm actually starting to print all of my images on like nice paper now, like some card, and they are looking much better. So, oh, look at that. This is a funky page. Probably sort of red. I was just testing out expired film and chemigrams. Oh, some of this shit looks so cool. These are all darkroom prints as well. Oh, I love to see it. Even though my prints came out so shit, it's very nice to see some darkroom processes in here. Beautiful chemigrams, all sleeved as well. I was really getting good at sleeving these guys. That's really good. Oh, that one's so cool. So I kind of had a little mini breakpoint here talking about, okay, how do I want my final body of work to look like? Preparing to go out and take my final set of images, which for a project like this, final images were kind of made during the process and then also purposely made at the end, so it was kind of 50-50. Half of my final images came from these shoots and the other half came from past experiments, because my project was exploring alternate process analog as a medium, I guess. We've got some first shoots outcomes. I think I probably kind of rushed talking about this maybe, because as it is the final shoots, I probably should be taking more care talking about it, but you know, we've got some of the outcomes here. Bleaching all of the final images, contact shoots of that, some final self-portrait shoots, and oh shit, what are the final images? That was quick. So we've got all my self-portraits, which I put together as a collection. So this is all inspired by Vivian Maier. We've got 4 here shot on expired film, which looks so cool. I really like these. And we've also got another 4 here shot on my Helena A1. It was my first self-portrait shoot. I can't help but notice these are printed on card, to be honest. They're not actually like professional prints, which is kind of shit of me. Get your final prints professionally printed. Oh my god. Nice little evaluation in the middle and comparing the 2 shoots and how much I've changed in my process. Then these were more of the final outcomes. We've got an experiment from a while back, a rust experiment. This one, which was a portrait of my friend Matt, stuck in upside down. Anyway, we've got one of the pylons from the Yugoslavia film, another random, really cool abstract frame, in my opinion. Oh, I've even put chemigrams in here. These look so shit. This is a darkroom print. That's so shit. That's a chemigram of that print, which is kind of cool, to be honest. And then we have my 10x8 pylon. I absolutely love this guy. This image, not so much. I think that one looks really shit, to be honest. Don't know why I included that. I'm kind of giving a page per image here. If I was going back to do this, I'd put these images in the middle and then talk about it all at the end instead, because this looks kind of silly. But these look nice. The white borders look shit though. Look at that. That's so fucking small at the top. God damn, how did I get an A star on this shit? This doesn't look bad though. I'm talking about my process, how like where I really got interested in the destruction and the textures that were kind of created from my processes of destructive techniques. Oh my god, I'm rambling so much. And then my final image, I left the best till last. This is one of my favourite images. I call it Crystal Digger. Project evaluation, massive block of text. Probably should have been bigger, to be honest. I then had an essay I had to write, which my teacher kept, I guess. This bit's really funny actually. So this is my end of project, kind of done stuff, but as you can see, there's more work. Honestly, I love photography so much, so once I was done with A-levels, I didn't stop creating, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny to finish my project and then continue it? Which is kind of really funny because these are some of my favourite images. I call this Decaying Memory 2022 now. We have my notes I made while doing the post-process destructive techniques and some small final images that look really cute. And then that's it. That is the actual end of my sketchbook, which is just blank. Thanks for watching as always. I'm out.